Hello and welcome to the news on Enyimba TV. We are reaching you from Aba, the commercial and industrial hub of Abia State, Nigeria. First, the headlines. House of Reps asks CBN to withdraw circular on cybersecurity levy. Senate approves death penalty for drug traffickers. Court fixes May 28 for hearing in GANDUJE'S suspension case. These and other stories plus foreign, business and sports shortly. I am Mary Ihejirika. President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointment of the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, Mr. Ekperekpe Ekpo, as co-chairman of the Governing Council of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB. In a statement issued by the President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngalale, he said that the appointment of Mr. Ekpo into the Governing Council of NCDMB is in line with President Tinubu's avowed commitment to establish a more efficient, targeted and consistent approval process for unique oil and gas projects in the country, as well as ensure effective oversight of the gas aspects of the nation's assets. Also, President Tinubu has approved the appointment of Engineer Chukwuemeka Woke as the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Ogun-Osun River Basin Development Authority. The federal government has waived the signature bonus requirement in the bidding process for newly auctioned oil blocks. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources and Oil, Mr. Henikin Lokbobiri, said this exemption is to attract fresh investment and ramp up oil output. He disclosed this on the sidelines of the ongoing 2024 Offshore Technology Conference, OTC, in Houston, Texas. At the event, the minister assured investors that oil will remain relevant in Nigeria's economy for a long time and that the government is creating an enabling environment to attract the best investment into the country. Lokbobiri, who urged investors to take the opportunity of the oil bid rounds to invest, said no source of energy goes away. Announcing the removal of the signature bonus, Lokbobiri said the year's payment of signature bonuses remained a huge bottleneck for investors as well as investment into the sector. The House of Representatives on Thursday asked the Central Bank of Nigeria to withdraw the circular directing all banks to commence charging a 0.5% cybersecurity levy on all electronic transactions within the country. The motion on the urgent need to halt and modify the implementation of the cybersecurity levy was moved by the member representing the Obio Akpo constituency, Kingsley Chinda. The circular, which was directed to all commercial, merchant, non-interest and payment service banks, among others, noted that the implementation of the levy starts 2 weeks from May 6, 2024. Kingsley Chinda noted that the development has led to apprehension as civil society organizations and citizens have taken to conventional and social media to call out the federal government to give ultimatums for a reversal of the imposed levy on Nigerians, among others. He urged that unless immediate pragmatic steps are taken to stop the proposed action of the CBN, the Cybercrime Act shall be implemented in error at a time when Nigerians are experiencing the aftermath of multiple removal of subsidies from petroleum, electricity, and so on, and the rising inflation. House of Representatives has resolved to investigate the procurement process of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. This followed the approval of a motion of urgent national importance moved by Austin Achado during plenary. Moving the motion, Achado maintained that the contract award did not follow due process and did not get approval from the National Assembly. However, in his resolution, the House referred the matter to its committees on procurement and works. The Senate on Thursday approved death penalty for dealers and importers of cocaine, heroin, and other hard drugs into the country. The proposed capital punishment also applies to manufacturing, trafficking, dealing in or delivery of hard drugs by any means. The Senate arrived at the resolution on the floor of the Red Chamber after deliberations on the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) Act Amendment Bill 2024. The maximum punishment in the extant law for offenders is life imprisonment. During the consideration of the report on the bill for passage on Thursday, Senate Whip Ali Ndume recommended that the punishment of life imprisonment be toughened to death penalty. The Nigerian Senate on Thursday passed a bill seeking an increment in the salaries and allowances of judges at all levels for second reading. The bill was considered following a lead debate by the Deputy Majority Leader Lola Ashiru. Ashiru, who represents Kwara South Senatorial District, said the executive bill will enhance the integrity of the judicial arm of government. In his contribution, Tahir Mungunu, representing Borno North, said improved pay for judges will take their minds away from corruption. Adding his submission, Chief Ojozokalo, representing Abia North, said increasing the salaries of the judges is the right thing to do. Justice Abdullahi Muhammad Liman of the Federal High Court, Kano, has set May 28 as the date for the hearing of a substantive application filed by the National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Abdullahi Ganduje. Ganduje is contesting his suspension from the party by factional ward executives led by Basiru Nuhu Issa. Ganduje's suspension saga began with his initial suspension by APC ward executives led by Haladu Gwanjo on April 15. However, another faction emerged announcing Ganduje's suspension on April 20, further complicating the situation. In response to the second suspension, the secretary of the party in Kano, Zakari Zarina, denounced the faction's actions, labeling it as a case of impersonation. Governor Siminalayi Fubara yesterday paid an unscheduled visit to the Assembly quarters, which houses the State House of Assembly. The River State Governor, who is at loggerheads with the State House of Assembly, explained that his visit to the quarters was to undertake an on-the-spot assessment of the condition of the structures for possible rehabilitation work to restore their status and make them livable. In a statement released by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Nelson Chukwudi, Fubara stated that the Assembly quarters were part of the state property under his control, adding that with the emergence of a new speaker, the facility would be given a facelift. The governor, who took a walk around the facility, said that he decided to visit the place to get a better appreciation of what needs to be done to make the quarters conducive for lawmakers. You're watching Enyimba TV News. The news continues shortly with foreign, business and sports. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. Now the news continues. We start with foreign. Top Israeli officials on Thursday criticized U.S. President Joe Biden for threatening to stop certain arms supplies to Israel if it invades the crowded Gaza city of Rafah. Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, Gilad Erdan, described the warning from Biden as difficult and very disappointing. Israel has defied international objections by sending in tanks and conducting targeted raids in the eastern areas of Rafah. It says Rafah is home to Hamas' last remaining battalions, but the city on the border with Egypt is also crammed with displaced Palestinian civilians. Eden said Biden's comment would be seen by Israel's enemies, Iran, Hamas, and Hezbollah, as something that gives them hope to succeed. And on business, licensed customs agents have blamed the foreign exchange crisis for the rising import of damaged vehicles into the country to about 80%. The agent added that it was also cheaper to purchase damaged vehicles overseas and fix them in the country than importing newer ones. The vice president of the National Association of Government-Approved Freight Forwarders, Ugochukwu Nnadi, said Nigerians now opt for buying auction damaged vehicles because they are cheaper. He stated that the fluctuating forex had made it difficult for importers and their agents to plan properly. According to a chieftain of the Association of Nigerian Licensed Customs Agents, Kayode Forinto, imported damaged vehicles are over 75%. And finally, from sports, the Nigeria Premier Football League (NPFL) has identified poor officiating as the major challenge facing the top flight. The NPFL chairman, Benga Elebeleye, who stated this in an interview condemned questionable officiating by some referees that does not portray the league in good light. He described some of the officiating as heartbreaking and mind-blowing and said they are trying to remove the bad eggs. Elebeleye vowed to leave a much-desired league behind which everyone will be proud of and that can compete with top leagues in the world. The sports story brings us to the end of the news, but just before we go, let's take a look at the headlines. In the news, we told you House of Representatives has asked the Central Bank of Nigeria to withdraw the circular directing all banks to commence sharing a 0.5% cybersecurity levy on all electronic transactions within the country. We also told you the Senate has approved the death penalty for dealers and importers of cocaine, heroin and other hard drugs into the country. And we told you Federal High Court in Kano has set May 28 as the date for the hearing of a substantive application filed by the National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Abdullahi Ganduje. That's a package of news at this period. Please join us for more updates in our subsequent bulletins. Meanwhile, don't forget to subscribe to this channel on YouTube. Click on the notification bell to receive alerts when new videos are uploaded. Thank you for watching. On behalf of the production team, I am Mary Ihejirika. Do enjoy the rest of your day.